Hey guys, welcome back to another Dragonheir Silent Gods video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you all about the new artifacts in Season 3 of Dragonheir. Before I get into that though, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the video, Dragonheir Silent Gods. Huge thank you to them for helping to support my channel and to continue to provide content for you guys. The other thing is, if you are interested in giving Dragonheir a try, you like what you're seeing in the videos, please do hit the link in the description or the pinned comment and get involved today. So, I have now got access to the test server on Season 3. So the season actually releases officially on the 22nd of March, so in a week today. So because of obviously being a content creator, they have given us access to the test server early, so we can try out all of the new heroes, all of the new artifacts, and everything else coming to the game. I'm going to cover all of the heroes in a separate video, but for today's video, I just want to talk about the artifacts that are coming to the game. So first of all, we're going to look from the start. So first of all, we've got the Gory Injector. So a base attack and attack percent, and the wearer takes 10% less, well, up to 15% less direct damage, and it converts 8% of the damage they deal into their HP. So this is one that I think is going to be really interesting to try out, especially if you've got a damage dealer who you're struggling to keep alive for some of the harder content areas, like potentially Ancient Battlefield, where the bosses do hit really hard, or Meander, Pillar of Trials, where you just want to make sure your damage dealers have that little bit of extra survival, but you're still getting the attack benefit from the artifact. So this is one I'm going to be trying out in the next few days on the test server, but let me know what you think about it in the comments, of course. Next up, we've got the Holy Acorn, so HP and Enlightenment for the base stats. It increases the healing effect granted by the wearer by 20%, and the wearer gains 15 skill haste for each ally with less than 35% HP on the field. So this is another one that I think is going to be really impactful, especially when you're taking frequent high damage for your whole team. So getting that extra boost of skill haste to rotate through your cooldowns faster is going to be really good. It won't be great for areas where you're specifically timing your skills, because the skill haste is going to throw things all out of order and you either won't gain benefit from it or you're going to ruin your rotation. But where you're just trying to get as much healing out as possible, and you just need your healer to use their ultimates more frequently, then this is going to be a perfect artifact for you. Obviously, as long as they are scaling from Enlightenment. So yeah, I think it's a great artifact. I do think it has kind of limited uses because, like I said, you need to make sure that you're in a position where you are taking frequent damage to gain the most benefit from it. If you're looking for just raw healing, then artifacts like the Everlasting Diamond from last season gives 25% instead of the 20% this gives. But this skill haste is a really nice addition as well. Next up, we've got the Ghost Captain's Hook. So attack and attack percent again on this one. The wearer gains 15% crit rate as a base as well, so you only need 85% on your damage dealers for this. And when you're not at full HP, the wearer deals an additional 15% damage. So once again, this is a really interesting artifact where if you can get the full benefit of it, then you are laughing, because you're going to get a huge amount of damage boost from this, and it's going to be really impactful. But if you're not gaining that benefit, then it might as well just be a glorified stat stick with 60% attack and 15% crit rate. Next up, we've got Golden Antler, so HP and resistance. Heals the wearer for 10% of their max HP each time they successfully resist control or ultimate down effect. This effect can only be triggered every 3 seconds. This is one of those artifacts that's going to be incredibly annoying on high resistance tanks in the arena, where you're obviously, if it's on your team, having this where you're fighting a team with a load of AoE control or even single target control, as long as you've got enough resistance, you're going to be constantly healing and your tank probably won't ever die. The same goes for fights like Meander, where you're fighting Ripe Casses or Iolas, or Tamars. If you've got enough resistance, you can gain a huge benefit from having this artifact on your tank. Next up, we've got the Elite's Key, and this is one of the artifacts that is earned from, I believe this one is from Pillar of Trials this season. So attack and attack percent. At the beginning of the battle, increases all allies' damage dealt by 15% for 20 seconds when fully upgraded. So this is interesting because it only gives you the bonus for 20 seconds, so realistically it's going to be mostly used in situations where you've got high bursts of damage, where you can clear stages quickly, for example. So whether you're speed farming dungeons, this might help make the difference to get them down quickly, or Meander, Pillar of Trials, and most notably I think the Arena. It's going to really shine for the Arena. It's just such a strong artifact, as long as you're able to pump burst damage in short windows at the start of a fight. Obviously, for a lot of heroes, 20 seconds, they're not going to get a second ultimate out, so it's just relying on that first ultimate skill for your team. So next up, we've got the Dreamland Globe, and this one is from Famiander for Season 3. So HP with a HP percent as the base stats, and the wearer gains recovery over time for 10 seconds if their HP is below 35% when taking damage. Also, the wearer takes 20% less AoE damage. So this is potentially a very strong artifact for some of your tanks or your support who you're struggling to keep alive. Obviously getting that additional healing out on them, but also taking 20% less AoE damage is really strong. So I am personally a huge fan of this artifact. Unfortunately, because of the fact it's from Famiander, we won't get it until we've cleared all 180 floors this season. So you're going to pick this up kind of later into the season if you're able to. So all in all, I think it's a great artifact, but it will probably help more at the kind of progression of Season 4 more than Season 3. Obviously, with that in mind, I don't know how much AoE damage we're going to be facing in the end part of the season. I don't know what the Continental bosses are going to be. I don't know what the Chaos Shadow bosses will be. And I don't know what the Season 3 end boss will be like. So bear that in mind, it could gain a huge amount of value when we do finally get to pick it up. So next up, we've got the Shadow Spawn. So this is the artifact that is for the Shadow damage type. So it gives attack and 40% crit rate, and upon gaining Shadow Energy, the wearer gains an additional attack up for 10%, for 10 seconds, equal to 1,500 of the Shadow Energy gained. So the way Shadow damage dealers work, which I will cover in a separate video, is instead of Ultimate Energy, they gain Shadow Energy. So you're going to be getting a attack up buff equal to 1,500% of the Shadow Energy you're gaining. I don't really know the numbers of the Shadow Energy, so I'd have to look into that more to give a kind of definitive answer of what I think about this. But I think in theory, this could be a very good artifact. Obviously, it does only affect Shadow heroes, so if you're building a Shadow team and you've got a spare duplicate for a Necrosis element, then it may be worth picking up. Next up, we've got the Aura version of this. So Aura is the Radiant's new type of damage. Also, we'll be covering that in a separate video. But when the wearer consumes Aura energy, the damage of the skill additionally is increased by 200% of the Aura energy consumed up to 30%. Gives you a flat attack of 60% and 335, so a huge amount of attack boost. I'm personally quite not very impressed with Aura so far. I played around with them quite a little bit today, and they just seem very mediocre in comparison to the other types of damage, especially Corrosion. So Corrosion so far is hands down my favourite thing coming into Season 3 in terms of damage dealers. So yeah, I'm not massively fond of Aura in general, so therefore the artifact I'm not a massive fan of. But if you are building an Aura team and you've managed to find a perfect use for them, obviously with more time of testing, we've only had test server for a few hours, well, probably about 12 hours at this point. So we've not done a huge amount of testing, and I personally have not found a massive use for them. But later on, when more things get found out, then this could be a great artifact. It does have potential given the boost it does give. It's quite strong. However, it just doesn't feel like they do enough for me, in my opinion. So next up, we've got the Corrosion version. So once again, 335 attack and 60% attack percent. Increases the effect of Corrosion inflicted by the wearer by 35%. So this is massive, especially if you've got the exclusive artifact and the exclusive hero for Corrosion. Increasing your Corrosion stacks on the boss is massive, because the more Corrosion you've got, the more numbers are going to fill your screen and the more damage you're going to do. Rook, the exclusive, is actually, I think, broken at this point. He completely breaks the game. He actually crashed my game earlier on an AoE fight. The amount of damage he puts out is truly disgusting. I've seen a 2 billion damage key on Vortex using him. So yeah, all in all, Corrosion are brilliant, and this artifact complements them really well. So a massive fan of that. Next up, we've got the exclusive legendary artifact for Aemon Leda, the new Aura exclusive legendary. As I said, I did test her earlier. I'm not hugely fond of it. However, if you do have Aemon Leda and you are trying to build her in a team, if you're able to get her artifact, it will be the best thing for her without a doubt at all. So as you can see, 335 attack, 80% crit damage, and increases the additional damage dealt in Blaze state by 50% whenever she casts a skill. So it is a very strong artifact. However, like I said, I just don't feel like the aura damage dealers do enough, in my opinion, yet. Next up, we've got the Nightmare Orb for Ozil. Ozil is the exclusive legendary from the Shadow damage type for Necrosis element. This artifact gives 335 attack, 40% crit rate. Also gains 35% crit rate resist, so he's going to be very hard to kill due to the fact you're going to struggle to crit him. Additionally, it increases the damage of Ozil's basic attack by 25% whenever he's in his demon form. So for those of you who haven't seen Ozil, when he uses his ultimate, he transitions into a demon form and does a load of damage in this really cool looking form. And so obviously increasing the basic attack damage by 25% of that is brilliant, because I believe most of his skills he uses in that form are basic attacks. So yeah, anything to boost that damage is always going to be a winner in my eyes from the testing I've done on him. So next up, we've got, in my opinion, the best artifact of Season 3. As long as things don't change, there is a high chance that Rook gets nerfed, and that is the Rat Tamer for Rook. It's his exclusive artifact. So it gives attack by 335 and 80% crit damage. It increases the damage bonus related to the corrosion on the target by 50% whenever he casts a skill. So Rook does a huge amount of damage to anything with corrosion, and if you're able to stack up a huge amount of corrosion, the damage you're doing is absolutely insane. I will pop up on the screen here the run I saw of 2 billion damage on Vortex, and as you can see, it is quite literally all Rook doing the damage. So yeah, that is using this artifact. If you're able to get him and this artifact, you are probably set for the whole season, like I said, as long as they don't nerf it. So the next thing I do want to quickly cover is going into Season 3, there is a new thing in the exchange shop for the season vendor. If it loads, here we go. So if you weren't able to complete Famiander or Pillar of Trials in Season 1, you can actually now buy their artifacts at the start of the season from the season settlement shop. So with your Echo of Clipsedra, obviously you get that turned into pure Sandcore at the start of the season. You can then use that to buy these artifacts that you missed out on. So just bear that in mind if you haven't got them already, and you do have some overflow left over, or you want to pick them up in any way. So that is all for this video, guys. Before I go, I do just want to say once again a huge thank you to Dragonheir Silent Gods for sponsoring this video. And like I said at the start, if you are interested in getting involved, please do hit the link in the description or the pinned comment and join us in Dragonheir today. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.